and welcome to this very special show aboard the Albert, which is the latest ship that has been launched by Maersk. Well, we are at GNPT and the naming ceremony has just gotten done. Well, naming ceremony is very customary, goes back way back to thousands of years perhaps, and is done differently in various cultures there. Well, the important thing about this ship is that one, it's the 11th coming in from Maersk. We are at GNPT right now. This is the second largest ship in the fleet of Maersk. We are told that this is 350 meters long. That is 3 football grounds here. This also can take around 16,000 plus containers on board, and it is expected to go via Middle East to Europe. And the most important thing about this ship is that this runs on green fuel. Joining now to take this discussion forward is Vincent Clerc. He's Global CEO at Maersk. Vincent, hi, thank you so much for joining us here at CNBC India. Congratulations on Albert to begin with. And how do you look at India in the overall map of things, and how important is a naming ceremony for your vessel here in India?
Well, I think in general, if you look at the world economy in general, there's a lot of uncertainties. There is a lot of also areas that are slowing down compared to what we have seen over the past few decades. And you have a bright spot. And this bright spot is India, that has really hit a stride, and where we're seeing an acceleration of the growth, an acceleration of the development. And of course, for a company like Maersk, it is important to signify in a very symbolic but very powerful way our commitment to playing our part in bringing that transformation about.
Since we are talking about India, Vincent, you also pledged $5 billion in coming few years. How do you look at this investment, in what areas, and how much time frame?
So I think what is really important for us is to look at how we can support the development of India, and what does India need where we have capabilities that are differentiating. We know how to develop ports and operate ports. We know how to develop and operate warehouses, inland infrastructure. We know how to develop also. We have a large technology base here that we're going to continue to increase. But if you look at the $5 billion, the lion's share of it is going to go to terminal infrastructure and inland logistics infrastructure to support the growth that there is in this country.
Vincent, you also, the company that is also has met the Indian Prime Minister, and there has been a talk about alliance, Green Fuel Alliance, that is. What does it really mean, and what is the time frame and roadmap here?
Well, I think there is a great alignment between our goal for decarbonizing our operation and the vision that there is for India becoming a powerhouse in the new world of green energies. And I think that for us, making these two agendas meet in a powerful way, and again, playing our part in bringing this about while also serving what we want to do for the world, what we want to do for our customers, makes a lot of sense.
Talk about this ship now, Albert. This has been named, and naming ceremonies are usually, when it comes to maritime and shipping companies, big deal, and I saw that one today. How important is this ship? This is one of its kind. This is going to be running on complete green fuel. Tell us more about this one.
Well, I think always the name giving within the maritime sector, within our industry, is really big. This is the time where you actually come and hope with the Godmother, really give it a blessing and wish it, safe sailings and prosperity and so on. So it's a really, really important symbolic event. It is especially symbolic because it is the first time that it happens in India. Ever. We've been here for over 100 years and have never had such an event. So from that perspective, it's very important. But it is important also because it is a different design. It is a different technology. It is a real beacon of hope and a symbol of that it's not just words, but the future is actually coming, and this is how it looks.
This is one of the green fuel ships that you have. So what is the number right now, and what really is the plan going forward?
So this is the 9th ship that we have joining, and they will continue to come. In the same series, we have 26 ships on order, so there will be more of those coming during the rest of this year and next year. And we have other series that are following that in the coming years. So this is part of our fleet renewal program to make sure that the network that we have remains the most competitive network out there, but also a network that enables us to reach the decarbonization goal that we've put forward.
Vincent, it also is going to be about availability of green fuel. As of now, we do understand that China is your major source for that. But is India giving you those kind of numbers? What are the kind of conversations that you have in India for this?
Yeah, so the markets for green fuels, and especially the supply of green fuel, is still emerging markets. And it is true that so far A few Chinese projects have gone faster than what we have seen elsewhere in the world, and that's why so far the contracts that we have signed are mostly in China. But we're actively looking for diversification of sourcing, because a lot of our ships do not call China. A lot of our ships, like Albert Maersk, will be sailing between India and Europe, and so it is important for us to find sources of energy, either in India or on the way between India and Europe. And there is a lot of really promising projects here. But we need to really, I think, encourage the development. It takes some risks to be the first ones to have a big project come online. We need a lot of that green fuel to power this ship and its sisters. So there is a scale element in that. But again, this is a dialogue that we're having with different projects here in India, and we're looking forward to hopefully seeing one of them come into a real business and signing a contract and having the first step in this diversification.
Vincent, also when you talk about the recent budget that went by for the Indian markets here, there was this reference of maritime and shipping and how India wants to play a bigger role in that. There were time frames set as well. How do you see being part of that?
I think this is a really opportune moment for India to actually reflect on the role that they play in the maritime industry. 1 employee in 5 in Maersk is an Indian passport holder. So it's the largest nationality in our company by far. And it will continue to grow. I mean, we have interest. 40% of our seafarers are Indian. Most of our technology is sitting in our technology center here in Bangalore. We have big resource centers. So the footprint and the role that India is playing into the global supply chain, into the shipping and the maritime sector is outsized. And it is great to see that this is becoming in focus now, and we're going to get even more energy behind developing capabilities here.
Vincent, talking slightly bigger here, and when you look at the global trade at this point in time, do you see, and how much would you see India's growth numbers leading to that? When you look at various geographies in sense of global trade, where is India standing?
I think if you look at India today, where India really stands out is in the growth that it delivers. Between 8 and 10% growth in the market, likely to continue in the coming years. This is, given the size of the market, actually quite unique nowadays. And certainly the role and the place that India is going to play in the global supply chain is going to continue to increase in the coming years. So it is important. A ship like this would not have been economically viable to serve India just a few years ago. Okay. But this growth is actually allowing us to upgrade and to continue to invest in the infrastructure to support this, lower the cost of logistics, bring the world markets closer to India in a way by taking away these frictions and these costs.
Talk to us also about on what's really happening in the global markets right now, and with the US president talking about tariffs, some of them implemented, some of them still being talked about. Has it had an impact, and how are you looking at the impact if actual tariffs are implemented?
So I think the reality on the ground so far is that you cannot see neither pull forward nor any type of consequences of the tariff activities that there has been so far. And for a reason that is fairly simple. What determines the demand for transport is the consumption. If consumption doesn't slow down, then demand remains strong and people have to source. And at that sourcing, capacity is not widely available. So sourcing is actually sticky, and it takes time for things to shift in terms of sourcing. So our expectation is still that tariffs or no tariffs, in the very short run, it is hard to see that this can have a massive impact. Okay. Unless inflation was to really ignite again at a very, very high level. That would certainly, then we would certainly move into a different type of scenarios. But if demand stays as robust as it is, tariff or no tariff, containers will continue to move largely from the same origins, largely in the same regions. But you will see a gradual shift. We just talked about the growth in India a few minutes ago. The market share of India in global trade is going to grow in the coming year. That's certain. And that means that more of that capacity is being added in India than anywhere else.
How are you looking at, as you said, you're looking to come into India in a big way. We've been working together for 100 years now, and you're looking at very huge investments as well. So going forward, though, what are the challenges that you see in India? And I'm sure you're having conversations with various counterparts here, but what is it that really sticks out?
Well, It is actually, growth can be painful when it comes as fast on such a big base. India is a huge country, 1.4 billion people spread over a huge geography that needs to be connected. Everything needs to be stood up at the same time for it to continue. So it's a huge challenge. It's a challenge for companies like ours to do our part. It's a challenge for the government to orchestrate all of this and to do the part that they have to do. So far, I think that the fact that this growth is sustaining itself for a few years already is a sign that things are going well. Okay. But the more we grow, the more 10% of a bigger number becomes a very big number. And then you have to continue to accelerate and accelerate, because what you did last year is not going to support 10% next year. You're going to need a bit more. So sustaining this, I think, is going to be key.
It's going to be a challenge. Yeah. Okay, Vincent. Also, you're into 130 countries, and you have a huge fleet. What are Maersk plans going forward from here? Are you looking at more businesses? Are you looking at increasing capacity, increasing fleet? What really are the numbers you're working with?
So our strategy for now is actually that the world is adding ship capacity faster than it is adding inland infrastructure, whether it is ports, warehouses. It is not deploying technology fast enough to support the supply chain, and therefore our key focus has been for the past few years to really concentrate on where we see bottlenecks appear in order to reduce the cost of logistics. And we're doing that by increasing our focus on port operations, on warehousing operations, on road transports operation, e-commerce and technology. That's what we have done. For the fleet, it's mostly about renewal and keeping the tool of production, which are our ships, extremely competitive. But since, in general, this is not where the bottleneck is, we prefer to focus on some of the other part. We think we can make a bigger impact.
My final question clearly is on Red Sea, because that clearly has been a concern for the last couple of years. Has the world gotten used to it, and have the freight rates now kind of settled down?
I think it has gotten used to it, at least temporarily. It's been more than a year, and it's certainly going to be quite a few months before, this changes. But I wouldn't say that this is normal. It's normalized for now, but I think the expectations for everybody is that this is not the most optimal route to take, and we're going to need to find a solution in order to reopen the route that is the intuitive route to sail, and that will come hopefully in the near future. But there are a lot of conditions that need to be met, and so far there is so much volatility. Actually, changing back and forth is not really an option. It's extremely costly and disruptive. So for us, prudence is really important. There is a lot of safety for our crew members, for our assets, for our customers' cargoes that we need to take care of. But we're, of course, monitoring that situation very closely and look forward to being able to reopen that route.
One very final question, and this is about the commodity prices. Very, very huge volatility there as well. Does that impact you in any sense, and how are you looking at overall markets?
So we are fortunate that most of what we transport is actually not commodities, but semi-finished goods or finished goods. So from that perspective, we are less impacted than maybe other shipping sectors. It is, of course, something that has an impact because it has an impact on the economy and how much growth there is in the economies that we serve, back to the consumption point. But for now, it's really all about consumption for us to determine what is going to shape our markets.
So if in one word or one sentence you had to describe 2025 outlook, what would that be?
You have to plan in scenarios. A lot of volatility and uncertainty. You have to be ready for a lot.
Energy transition, does that come to your mind? I mean, is that going to be an important year for that?
In 25 and in 26, it's a long haul transformation. It's going to take a couple of decades, and we got to take this one step at a time.
One taken, Vincent. Thank you so much, and congratulations yet again. Thank you for making time for us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.